Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
On October 16, 1964, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, something very important happened. The People's Republic of China successfully made its first atomic bomb explode. This moment marked a huge success for the country. With this powerful test, China officially became one of the world's nuclear powers. Before this, only 3 other countries had such a weapon: the United States, the Soviet Union, and Great Britain. China was now the 4th country to have an atomic bomb, showing its strength to the world. It was a remarkable achievement for a nation that was still developing. Many people did not expect China to achieve this so quickly. Building this bomb was a very big and difficult job. China was a country focused on growth and building its economy. Yet, it managed to create a working nuclear weapon in less than 5 years. This was a truly fast pace for such a complex project. It showed the world what China could do when it set its mind to a goal. This book will tell the full story of how China reached this milestone. It is a story filled with many parts. We will look at the important role of science and the very smart people, the scientists and engineers who worked day and night. We will also explore the world of politics, understanding how leaders like Mao Zedong made decisions, and how other countries, especially the Soviet Union and the United States, reacted. There were many secrets involved, hidden plans, and unexpected changes along the way. We will learn about the big challenges China faced. We will see the moments when other nations helped and also when they stopped helping. Finally, we will understand how China, through its own hard work and clever thinking, built its own atomic bomb. This was a turning point for China and changed how the world looked at this country. It was a time of great change and a testament to human effort, showing how a developing nation could achieve something so complex and powerful. 2. A big fear. Mao Zedong, China's leader, had a big worry. The United States had atomic bombs. Mao feared America might use these powerful weapons against China. This was especially true during China's Civil War. To feel safe, Mao looked for help. In December of 1949, he went to visit Joseph Stalin, the leader of the Soviet Union. Mao wanted the Soviets to offer a nuclear umbrella for China. This meant the Soviets would protect China with their own atomic bombs if America attacked. The Soviet Union had just tested its own atomic bomb a few months before. But they were careful. They did not want to promise too much. In the agreement between China and the Soviet Union, it said if one country was attacked, the other would help. China's Premier, Zhou Enlai, asked to add the words "with all means at its disposal." This made the promise stronger. Still, no one wrote anything specific about atomic bombs. Soon, this promise was tested. The Korean War began. American soldiers moved close to the border of China and North Korea. Chinese leaders worried America would attack China next. They thought about America using atomic bombs. China decided to send its soldiers to help. Mao believed America would not start a full nuclear war with the Soviet Union. His guess was right. America did not use atomic weapons, but they did threaten to. After the Korean War, America continued to use its atomic power to scare China. Chinese leaders called this nuclear blackmail. Important American officials spoke strongly. John Foster Dulles, a top American diplomat, said China was very unfriendly to the United States. General Curtis LeMay, a military leader, even talked about dropping bombs in China in 1954. Later that year, during the first Taiwan Strait crisis, the possibility of nuclear war grew again. This was over some small islands near China. American military leaders thought about using atomic bombs, but President Dwight Eisenhower decided not to. Also, America made a defense treaty with Taiwan. China believed this would make Taiwan's leaders bolder. All these events showed Mao Zedong and the Communist Party one thing clearly. Even if they had already thought about it, these crises made it urgent. China needed its own atomic bomb, and it needed it fast. This was the only way China could truly feel safe from such big fears. 3. Asking for help. Mao Zedong believed China needed its own atomic bomb. His first idea was to ask the Soviet Union for help. The Soviets were China's biggest trading partner. They had given loans and helped China build many factories. They also sent military equipment like missiles and airplanes. China knew about the Soviet Union's nuclear program. In 1949, a Chinese group asked Stalin, the Soviet leader, to see their nuclear sites. Stalin only showed them a film. He never shared atomic technology while he was alive. He only offered China his country's nuclear protection. Then, in 1953, Stalin died. Nikita Khrushchev became the new leader of the Soviet Union. Khrushchev wanted China to support him. He also wanted to change some of Stalin's old ways. In September 1954, Khrushchev said it was important to help China build its industry. A few days later, he traveled to China in October 1954. During his visit, Mao met with Khrushchev. Mao asked him directly for help with China's nuclear weapons program. Khrushchev was surprised by this request. He stopped for a moment. He tried to tell Mao that China should focus on growing its economy. He also reminded Mao that the Soviet Union already offered nuclear protection. But the Chinese leaders said they really needed this help. In the end, Khrushchev and the Soviets agreed. They would work with China on peaceful atomic energy. In April 1955, China and the Soviet Union signed a special agreement. The Soviets agreed to give China an experimental nuclear power plant. They also agreed to provide a cyclotron, which is a machine for science. This would cost China 430 million rubles. The Soviets also sent nuclear experts to China. These experts showed films and gave talks about atomic energy to many Chinese scientists. They helped China look for uranium in the Xinjiang region. Any good uranium found would first be used by China. If there was extra, it would go to the Soviet Union. Later, in February 1956, Khrushchev agreed to help more. He allowed more Chinese students to study in the Soviet Union. He also promised to build more nuclear research centers in China. 4. Smart people. China had a big goal: to build its own atomic bomb. For this, the country needed very smart people. China made a plan to find the best scientists, both inside the country and those who had gone to study abroad. This was a critical step in their journey. Many Chinese scientists had studied and worked in Western countries. The government asked them to come back and help China. One of the most famous was Dr. Qian Shu-sen. He was a brilliant rocket scientist who had worked in the United States. However, in the 1950s, some people in America thought he had communist ideas. Because of this, he lost his job and faced difficulties. Dr. Qian Shu-sen decided to return to China. His knowledge of rockets and advanced science was a great help to China's new bomb program. His return was a very important moment for the nation. Other smart scientists also came back. Peng Huanwu was one of them. He was a physicist who had earned 2 doctorates in just 10 years. He was known for his work in quantum physics, a very advanced field. Another key person was Qian San-Kiang. He had studied how uranium atoms split apart, a process called fission, at a famous institute in Paris. When he came back to China, he became a leader at the Institute of Physics. These scientists were crucial to understanding the complex science behind an atomic bomb. These smart people were very important for China's future. However, they sometimes faced political problems. Some people called them rightist intellectuals and did not trust them. This made their work difficult. To protect them, an important leader, Zhou Enlai, held meetings to stop these unfair attacks. Later, many scientists were moved to safe, secret places far from big cities. There, they could focus on their difficult work without distractions or fear. China also put a lot more money into science research. In 1955, the budget was $15 million. By 1956, it grew to $100 million. The Chinese Academy of Sciences used much of this money to buy science books and papers from Western countries. This big effort helped to build a strong team of experts. This strong team, carefully selected and protected, became the heart of China's secret atomic bomb project. They knew the work would be hard, but they were ready. With the best minds gathered and new resources, China began its challenging journey to develop this powerful new weapon. 5. A big promise. In late 1956, big problems happened in Europe. Anti-communist protests started in Hungary and Poland. The Soviet Union stopped these protests with force. After this, the Soviets felt weaker. They needed China's friendship more than before. This meant they were ready to give China more help. Finally, in 1957, the Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev made a big decision. He decided to share real atomic bomb technology with China. Some people in the Soviet military and science world did not agree with him, but Khrushchev believed it was important to keep China as an ally. So, in October 1957, China and the Soviet Union signed a new agreement. It was called the Agreement on Production of New Weapons. This agreement promised to build a complete atomic energy industry in China. This was a moment of great hope for China's nuclear program. The Soviets promised to give China many things. They would send a special teaching model of an atomic bomb. This model would come with all the designs and papers. They also promised technology for making the bomb's parts. This included ways to process uranium and plutonium. For China, this felt like a huge step forward. They believed they would soon have their own bomb with this help. But soon, the Soviets began to have doubts. They started to hold back information. Khrushchev later said they gave China almost everything. But this was not completely true. Soviet scientists were told to be careful. They gave lectures to the Chinese, but often without real documents or formulas. Sometimes the audience was not even made of top scientists. They drew basic pictures on a blackboard. They said the real details would come with the teaching bomb. Also, Mao Zedong said some things that worried the Soviets. In November 1957, he spoke about a possible nuclear war. He said that even if half the world died, socialism would still win. These words made Khrushchev and other Soviet leaders unhappy. They started to think again about their promise. By early 1958, the Soviets decided not to send the teaching model atomic bomb to China. They chose to delay it. The big promise was already starting to weaken. 6. A broken promise. Problems between China and the Soviet Union started to grow. In 1956, Soviet leader Khrushchev gave a secret speech. In this speech, he criticized the past Soviet leader, Stalin. Mao Zedong in China did not like this. He felt it was a hidden attack on his own leadership style. This made the friendship weaker. Then, in November 1957, Mao Zedong went to a meeting in Moscow. He made a speech about nuclear war. Mao said that if a big war happened and half the people in the world died, the other half would live. He believed that after such a war, the world would become socialist. This talk worried the Soviets a lot. Khrushchev and other Soviet leaders were upset by Mao's words. They thought Mao was too careless about nuclear war. Because of this, the Soviets started to change their mind. They had promised to send China a teaching model of an atomic bomb as part of the 1957 agreement. But in early 1958, they decided not to send it. The big promise was already starting to weaken. Khrushchev felt that relations with China were getting very bad, so he said they should delay sending the bomb. Throughout 1958, there were many delays. Soviet security advisors kept finding new problems with the room where the bomb would be kept. They always asked for new changes. Things got even worse in 1958 during the Second Taiwan Strait Crisis. Mao Zedong ordered his army to shell islands near the mainland. This fighting again made people fear a nuclear war. Khrushchev thought Mao was trying to start a third world war. This made Khrushchev realize he had made a big mistake by helping China with nuclear technology. In June 1959, Khrushchev made a final decision. He sent a letter to China. The letter said that the Soviet Union would stop all military help. Soon after, most Soviet advisors were called back home. Many left China within 1 month. The last Soviet advisor left China in July 1960. This was a difficult time for China's nuclear program. 7. We can do it. After the Soviet Union stopped its help in 1959, China faced a big challenge. Many thought China could not build an atomic bomb alone. But Chinese leaders had a different idea. They believed in themselves and their scientists. They decided to continue the project without any outside help. This was a moment of strong national will. In January 1960, China started a new plan. They called it Project 596. This name was a reminder of the month and year the Soviets pulled out their support. Chinese leaders wanted everyone to remember this date. Premier Zhou Enlai gave a speech. He said China would use its own hands to make a breakthrough in 3 years. They would learn all the technical parts in 5 years and have many bombs in 8 years. This was a very ambitious goal. These years were hard for China because of the Great Leap Forward. There were big problems with the economy and food. People at the bomb facilities like the Lanzhou plant also faced these difficulties. Sometimes there was not enough food for the workers. But leaders like Wang Zhefu, who ran the Lanzhou plant, made sure the work continued. He cut food portions for everyone, including himself. He even went to look for wild plants to eat with his team. The Lanzhou facility was very important. It was a remote place where scientists worked to make uranium for the bomb. When the last Soviet advisors left Lanzhou in July 1960, they took important things with them. They even took a special oil needed for the machines. But the Chinese scientists did not give up. They worked very hard to find new ways. They found other materials from across China to replace what was gone. They also had to fix problems caused by people who, in their excitement, wrongly changed Soviet-made machines. A leader named Song Renxiang had to ask Mao Zedong to stop this. Slowly, the Chinese scientists solved these difficult problems. By the end of 1961, all the machines at Lanzhou were working. They found a new special oil for the pumps. By the middle of 1963, they were making uranium-235. This was a big step. Then, in January 1964, they had 90% enriched uranium. This was exactly what they needed for the bomb. When Mao Zedong read the report about this success, he wrote, "Very good." China had shown that we can do it. 8. The first Chinese bomb. After a long journey, the time came for the final steps. With enough enriched uranium from the Lanzhou facility, scientists began to put the atomic bomb together. This was the last big part of Project 596. Every piece had to be perfect for the bomb to work. It was a moment of great hope and tension for the many people involved. Then, on October 16, 1964, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the People's Republic of China made history. They successfully exploded their first atomic bomb. The test happened in a desert area. This big event meant China joined a small group of countries with nuclear weapons. They became the world's 5th nuclear power, after the United States, the Soviet Union, and Great Britain. It showed the world that China was a strong and capable nation. Making this bomb was a very large project. Hundreds of thousands of people worked on it. More than 900 factories, research centers, and schools across 20 provinces helped. The program cost a very large amount of money for a developing country. It cost about $4.1 billion in 1957 money. This was during a difficult time for China, known as the Great Leap Forward, when there were many economic problems and food shortages. The government had to cut other projects to pay for the bomb. People still discuss how important the Soviet Union's early help was. Some say the Soviets shared deep secrets, but others believe the information was basic. Many agree that when the Soviets stopped helping in 1959, it pushed China to work even harder. The feeling of being let down gave Chinese scientists and leaders a strong desire to finish the bomb themselves. They wanted to show they could succeed without outside help. The successful test brought great pride to the Chinese people. It showed China's ability to achieve big goals, even when facing many challenges alone. It changed China's place in the world. Do you think China would have built the bomb faster or slower if the Soviet Union had kept helping them?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.